If you've ever walked out into your garden on a blazing hot afternoon, only to find your once lush plants drooping like tired shoulders, you know the heartache of gardening in extreme heat. Trust me, I've been there, standing in the middle of my garden with a watering can, feeling like no matter how much I give, the sun always takes more. Heat waves can feel like a gardener's worst enemy, but here's the truth. Plants are more resilient than we think, and with the right care they can not only survive but even thrive under intense heat. On Soil Sage Chronicles, I love sharing gardening secrets that make real, practical differences. Today, I'm breaking down 10 tried-and-true tricks to keep your plants alive in extreme heat. Whether you're growing vegetables, flowers, or even container plants on your balcony, these tips will help you protect your green friends from scorching temperatures. Timing is everything when watering. When the sun is blazing, water evaporates faster than your plants can drink it. Watering during the hottest part of the day wastes both your effort and precious water. Instead, aim to water early in the morning or late in the evening. Morning watering is best because it lets plants start the day fully hydrated, with leaves dry before nightfall, reducing disease risk. Evening watering also works, especially if mornings are hectic. I've noticed in my own garden that plants watered at sunrise stay noticeably perkier through the day compared to those watered later. It's not just about quantity, it's about timing. Mulch, your plant's best friend. If you haven't fallen in love with mulch yet, now's the time. Mulch acts like a protective blanket over your soil, locking in moisture and shielding roots from direct heat. Organic mulches like straw, wood chips, shredded leaves, or even grass clippings work wonders. In my vegetable beds, a thick layer of straw mulch dropped the soil temperature by nearly 10 degrees compared to bare soil. That's the difference between thriving roots and stressed, wilting plants. Deep watering over frequent sips. When the heat cranks up, shallow watering just doesn't cut it. Plants need moisture deeper in the soil to keep roots cool and hydrated. That means watering less often, but for longer durations. Aim for soaking the soil 6 to 8 inches deep. So, I use a simple test. I just stick my finger into the soil. If it's dry past my first knuckle, well, it's definitely time to water deeply. This really encourages the roots to grow downward, instead of just lingering at the surface where the heat is harshest. Provide shade when needed. Even sun-loving plants, can get sunburnt in extreme heat. Temporary shade can make a huge difference. And honestly, you don't need any fancy equipment. Old bed sheets, burlap, or even a patio umbrella can shield your plants during peak heat. For a longer-term fix, try shade cloths, which come in different percentages to filter sunlight. I've personally saved entire tomato rows during a brutal heat wave just by draping burlap over stakes. It's kind of like giving your plants sunglasses for the summer. Cool the soil with companion planting. Companion planting isn't just about pest control, it's also about temperature regulation. Taller plants like corn or sunflowers can act as living umbrellas for smaller, more delicate crops. And ground covers like squash or sweet potato vines, well, they shade the soil and prevent it from baking. This layered approach really mimics nature, where taller trees shelter the forest floor. In my garden, pairing basil under tomato plants has kept both crops thriving in heat that would normally stress them. Protect container plants extra carefully. If you're a container gardener, you know pots heat up fast, sometimes like ovens under the summer sun. To protect them, choose light-colored containers, move them to shaded spots during peak hours, and add mulch on top of the soil. Another trick I swear by, grouping pots together. It creates a little microclimate that reduces heat stress. I even place smaller pots inside larger ones with a bit of straw packed around the sides for insulation. Harvest strategically. Heat stresses plants, and the last thing they need is the extra burden of ripening fruit. During a severe heat wave, I harvest tomatoes, cucumbers, or squash a little earlier than usual. This helps the plant conserve energy and directs its strength back into survival instead of production. It may sound counterintuitive, but by lightening their load, you give plants the breathing room to bounce back once the heat eases. I've seen tired pepper plants recover beautifully after I trimmed back fruit during an intense stretch of 100-degree days. Keep soil healthy with organic matter. You know, healthy soil is really like a sponge. It holds water longer, provides nutrients steadily, and protects roots. Adding compost or aged manure, well, it improves soil's ability to withstand heat stress. Over time, I've noticed that my heavily composted beds require far less watering than my neglected ones. The soil just stays moist, crumbles nicely, and doesn't crack open under the sun. Building soil health is a long game, but honestly, it's the ultimate insurance policy against extreme weather. Don't fertilize during a heat wave. When plants are under heat stress, they're already struggling to survive. Adding fertilizer at that point can really overwhelm them. Think of it like asking someone who's dehydrated to run a marathon. Instead, just wait until the weather cools down to resume feeding. The only exception is a gentle boost with liquid seaweed or compost tea. Both help strengthen plants without pushing them too hard. I use these sparingly, kind of like a pick-me-up, but hold off on anything too strong until conditions improve. Stay observant and responsive. Perhaps the most important trick is simply paying attention. Every garden is unique, and what works for mine may need tweaking in yours. Watch how your plants respond. Do they perk up after morning watering, or do they need an extra evening drink? Are leaves scorching despite mulch? Maybe more shade is needed? Gardening in extreme heat is a dance between you, your plants, and the weather. The more you observe and respond, the better your plants will adapt. Extreme heat can feel daunting, but it doesn't have to mean the end of your garden. With smart watering, mulch, shade, and a little strategic care, you can help your plants push through even the toughest conditions. I've learned these tricks not just from books, but from sweaty afternoons spent testing, failing, and adjusting until my garden finally found its rhythm with the summer sun. If you found these tips helpful, I'd love for you to join me on this journey. Subscribe to Soil Sage Chronicles, share this with your fellow gardeners, and let's grow stronger gardens together, even under the harshest heat.